This video is for you if you want to sell your handmade items, or you currently are and you need a little bit of help and you want to sell on Facebook Marketplace to your local community. I have been successfully selling my creations, my home decor pieces, my art, my woodworking items for 10 years to my local community. And these are tips and tricks that I have learned, as well as the customer journey and how to successfully create an item and a listing and a posting and to have those sales. So the first tip is to find a few items that you want to test out, that you want to see if they'll sell. If you don't know what to do, some of my really good items that when I was first starting out that had some really great success were things like mountain shelves, jewelry holders, key racks, things that people use every day. These are really functional. They're easy to make. They're low cost. So if they don't work out, then you're not losing too much. The next tip from that is when you know what you want to test is, well, firstly, don't mass produce them, because I've done this. I lived in the city and I had a really amazing run Christmas with centerpieces, and I sold so many. And the next year I had moved. The next year I was like, these are going to sell like hotcakes again. It's coming up to Christmas. So I mass produced them and I only sold a couple. What I did not account for was my location and the income. So you really have to think about the items when you're thinking about the items that you want to create. Where do I live? What's the income? Because essentially a Christmas centerpiece is something that they're going to use once a year, unless they change out the center insides, and it's a luxury item. People in the city, they have a higher income, they have that money to spend on a luxury item. Whereas things like jewelry hangers and key holders, those are things that people are going to use every single day, and it's more functional for them. And they're like, yes, I want to give you my money for this kind of thing. Once you have those items that you want to test, you're going to make 3 or 4, and you're going to do different finishes. So what I did is I used to sell mandala wall art, and I made 3 different pieces. 4 actually. I did a dark walnut, I did early American, I did golden oak, and then I did like a wild card, like a gray with a rustic white dry brush farmhouse kind of look. And that gives people options, and options for what their interior is, what their personal taste is, and they can say, yes, I want that one. People love options, but they don't love too many options. So if you're like, I'll give you blue, gray, purple, green, they're gonna swipe past because it's too much, or it's too much on you because you have to invest in those colors, and it can be a lot. And it's easier to take those custom orders, and if you're doing a lot, then you can, it's less work for you, and you want to protect yourself as well. So once you have made those items, then you are going to do probably the most critical point in this whole process is your listing photos. And your listing photos are so important, because essentially you are selling people the vibe and the energy of that photo. I see so many times on Facebook Marketplace where there's this beautiful handmade item, but it's photographed on like a really terrible blue wall that has patches, and it just hurts my heart because these people are trying, but people are just going to swipe past it because it's not. The psychology of people is, I see it and it's beautiful and I want that in my home. I want that vibe in my home. I want that energy in my home. So you really need to make sure that your pictures are clean and clean lines. But this is where people struggle. A lot of people struggle, like I said, because oftentimes we don't have somewhere in our home to take these pictures. We don't have a clean white wall. So what do? I like to do a staged photo. So a lot of the time I'll do it in like the washroom. I used to do it in the washroom a lot because it had the best lighting and it had the white wall. And I would do one staged photo with kind of everything on it and maybe a plant beside it. And then a really great trick, if you don't have this, is to do a white sheet. Lay a white sheet on the floor, iron it. I don't want to see any crinkles because people are like, ugh. But lay a white sheet and then you take your photo down like this, and that way you can also incorporate like pretty florals or like, you know, those ivies if you have an ivy, something nature themed. Nature somehow really appeals to people, especially if you're selling wood products, because it's like it really goes hand in hand. Nature, wood, it's a really great vibe. What's next? Oh yeah. So again, when you're taking your photos, you want to show scale. You want to show size, because even if you put the dimensions in the description, people are always, without a doubt, going to say, oh, it's smaller than I thought. Oh, it's bigger than I thought. Even if you're physically giving them the dimensions, they're not going to see it in their head. So it's kind of important that in one of the photos, you take your tape measure and you show the measurements, or you put something in the photo that kind of shows the scale. So like a hand, a nice manicured hand, or like a little plant, or just something that shows the size of it. Because I can't even, I'm like the worst at thinking about sizes. I still have to just measure, like physically see it. I can't, if someone says it's this many inches, I can't. I've been woodworking for 10 years and I still have terrible measure, I don't know what it's called. But anyways, hopefully these tips and tricks will alleviate some of your headaches when you're posting. Really focus on the customer journey. You want to make it as easy for them to order from you. So when you give them those pictures that they're like, yes, I want that in my home. I want that color. I want that size. Bada boom, bada bing. And you're like, okay, got it. Thank you. I will be in touch in a week. It'll take, really say it's going to take a week. It's going to take 2 weeks. Have really good communication, because those people are your best marketers. Word of mouth is the best thing that you could not pay for. Okay? So hopefully that helps, and I'll be back again with some more tips and tricks.